Welcome to episode number 70, the 70th episode of Inside Sports with Rashad Mitchell. I'm your host, Rashad Mitchell, coming to you live on Facebook. I don't know why it's not on Facebook, but let's have it on Facebook tonight. Though I had it set up for that. But I'm on YouTube and Twitter, so because I'm not going to be on Facebook tonight, but unfortunately, um, I'm live. Usually I was going to come on, another time, or no later, but I didn't do that, so I decided to do it now. So I'm on for tonight. So let's get into it, man. College football, NFL, baseball. Baseball season's winding up. It's about to come to an end. Got a lot of good stuff coming up. A lot of good stuff going on in baseball as the season about to come to an end. They got the playoffs coming up real soon, and then you got this day in sports history for September 25th. So let's get into it, man. College football last week. We're gonna start with the games that was interesting last week. Start with Auburn, Alabama. Excuse me, Auburn, Oklahoma. That was a good game. But Oklahoma won 24-17. Let's get into it. College football. 24-17 was the final score with Auburn, Oklahoma. Oklahoma won that game. No surprise there. Michigan beat Nebraska 30-27. Notre Dame beat Purdue 56-30. Finally got their first win. USC won 45-31. Indiana handled their business against number 9 Illinois. It's kind of like an upset. Number 19 Indiana beat Illinois 63-10. And Miami handled their business. Very close game. Then the score shows. But the defense did a job, held Florida It's 141 yards in total offense. But to give credit to the defense of Florida, they kept this game very close, very tight. But Miami was able to wear them down with the running game, and that was the difference in the game. 116 yards by Mark Fletcher Jr., 24 carries and a touchdown. Um, Brown, his name is Shamar Brown. Let's see. Yeah, Shamar Brown, sophomore at Omaha with Nebraska, played very well as well. Yeah, 18 carries for 80 yards. So Miami did with the running game to preserve this win. They did well also with the defense. They was able to win 26-7. So see what they do against Florida State. That's the next point they're going to be playing moving forward. They have a bye week this week, so see how they handle getting ready for Florida State at Tallahassee, their first road game. Because most of their games been played, you know, at home, so this will be their first road test, as far as that is concerned. So that's it for the college football landscape of things. That was what happened last week. Let's move forward to week 4. Looking to what's going to be taking place this week. Excuse me, week 5. Big game tomorrow, man. Florida State gotta be careful because they play at Virginia tomorrow night. This could be like a trap game because they got Miami next week at their place. They play 3-1 Virginia at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. So be on the lookout with that. Could be an upset alert possibly. Also, TCU travels to Arizona State. Arizona State is 3-1 on the season. See if TCU, the number 24 team in the country, was upset, as well as Florida State was upset possibly. They ranked number 8 against Virginia. Upset over on Saturdays. Look at Georgia Tech. They play at Wake Forest, number 16 team in the country, number 23. Illinois plays number 21 USC. That's a good game. Arkansas and Notre Dame. Arkansas 2-2. Notre Dame's 1-2. Ohio State plays against Washington. Both teams are 3-0. Another good game. LSU and Ole Miss. That's a very good game. Number 4 versus number 13. That's a good game. Texas A&M and Auburn. That's a pretty good game. 3-0 versus 3-1. Indiana versus Iowa. 4-0 versus 3-1. Tennessee versus Mississippi State. That's a good game. Got pretty good games. So games on Saturday, as far as college football concerned. Certain games that is kind of like under the radar, but they're very interesting. Tennessee and Mississippi State. Tennessee's 3-1. Mississippi State is 4-0. Arizona versus Iowa State. Both teams are unbeaten. Arizona's 3-0. Iowa State is 4-0. Obviously got the big one. This is the get best game of the week. Oregon travels to Penn State. Number 6 Oregon versus number 3 Penn State. Both teams unbeaten at 7:30. Then you obviously got a great rivalry game between in the SEC between number 17 Alabama and number 5 Georgia. That's a good game. So a lot of good games this next week. This comes Saturday. Keep your eyes on. So I'm gonna give you my predictions. I think I go with USC to beat Illinois. I got Notre Dame beating Arkansas. I think Ohio State will handle their business, beat Washington. I'm going with LSU over Ole Miss. I'm gonna go with Penn State to beat Oregon. Penn State has to win this game. This is a big game for them. True test. I go with Penn State at home. I'm gonna go with the upset. I think Alabama will upset Georgia. I'm going with Alabama over Georgia. I don't think Georgia is that good as they usually have been. So I'm going with Alabama to upset Georgia. So I got Alabama, Penn State, LSU, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and USC as my winners for this coming week, coming Saturday. Right, so that's it. Let's get into the International Football League. It was wild and wacky, man. Right now we got week 4 season starting. Week 4 the NFL season started with a good game. 2-1 teams, Arizona and Seattle. So far, scoreless. 8:48 to go. 8:46 to go in the first quarter. So let's get into the games from last week. Very wild and wacky, man. It was a lot of special teams touchdowns, a lot of blocked field goal attempts, especially with the Rams and Eagles game, a game that the Eagles should have lost, but give credit to the Eagles. Jalen Hurts played very well in that game. Give him credit. They was able to come back and win 33-26 after trailing 26-7. Jalen Hurts threw 3 touchdowns and finally got the offensive game going. I mean, something that they haven't been doing so far in this young season, as far as not being able to like pass the ball. I mean, they was able to open the offense up, which is strange. You got AJ Brown, you got Devontae Smith, you got Dallas Goedert. They should be able to have more than just the touchdowns they have for touchdown passes. But give credit to the Eagles. That's the 12th straight home victory, the biggest comeback since the stadium opened in 2003. They trailed by 19 points. So John Hurst did his job, man. He had 204 yards, passing 3 touchdowns in the second half. So he wasn't a game manager. He definitely took over that game, his business, and played a great game. So the Eagles have won 19 out of the last 20 games, including the playoffs, best 20-game stretch in franchise history. Brown had 6 catches for 109 yards, while Smith had 8 catches for 60 yards. Big play, obviously, was the field goal attempt that was blocked by Jordan Davis. He ran all the way 61 yards to the end zone. They won the game. Another game that had a field goal attempt block was the Browns and the Packers. This is the upset. Packers lost to the Cleveland Browns 13-10. Andre Smith's, I'm saying his last name right, 55-yard field goal was the winner. But in this game, the Packers had a chance to win in regulation. See, I think this game went overtime, did it? I think it did. But there was a field goal attempt that they tried to get, and it was up 10-0. Green Bay should have won this game anyway, but it's the first time in franchise history the Browns have won a game in which they had scored no points and trailed by at least 10 points with 4 minutes remaining. Last time was Denver and Chicago. Denver beat Chicago December 11, 2011. But there was a field goal attempt that was attempted by Green Bay to try to win it, but it was blocked by Shelby Harris. Brandon McManus was covered at the 47. This game didn't go in overtime. It was in regulation, looks like. So they was able to win the game, 13-10. It's time expired. So bad loss for Green Bay. They'll be ready, get ready for Dallas this week. See what happens with that. Obviously, Michael Parsons coming back to his old stomping grounds where he used to play at during his majority of his career. That's what stood out. The Vikings and Bengals game, that was a crazy game. You look at, the Vikings, man, it was all about the defense that stood out because this Isaiah Rodgers was a callous. He scored 2 touchdowns. Let's get to that. So Vikings record with 2 defensive touchdowns and forcing 3 snags 5 turnovers. So that was just a crazy game. He had an 87-yard interception return. Funny recovered 66 yards. So yeah, he was all over the place in that game on defense. See what game stood out last week. There's another game. The Jets blocked the punt, blocked the kickoff, made a kick field goal attempt, and his return for a touchdown by Will McDonald. His return recovered 50 yards, but they lost the game in regulation. Uh, Chase McLaughlin hit a field goal to make it 29-27. That was the final score for Tampa Bay's 3-0. See what game stood out. Chargers are 3-0. They beat the Broncos 23-20. Broncos supposed to have a good defense, but they played well against Justin Herbert. So Justin Herbert threw for what? 300 yards. And the 49ers, who are very banged up, they lost Joey Bosa for the season. They won 16-15. So despite them being banged up, Mac Jones filled in for Brock Purdy. But Nick Bosa is, I think he's out for the season. Tore ACL. He's on IR. So I don't think he's coming back. Yeah, it's a torn right ACL, so that's not good for the 49ers. So they want to do some things and as far as winning the Super Bowl, man. I don't think they're gonna do it, but they're doing it a lot without, the key players, Brock Purdy and I think George Kittle is out with a hamstring injury, something like that. So they're dealing with so many injuries, rash injuries. Right. Well, the game stood out last week and this week in football. Chiefs beat the Giants. They got their first win. Also, the Giants going to be starting Jackson Dart. He's going to be the starter for the Giants the remainder of the season. So Russell Wilson's bench. And then you got a great game this past Monday night, man. The Lions and the Ravens, man. That was a big time game. And it showed you that Detroit has not missed a beat offensively, despite the performance that they had against Green Bay. They didn't play that well. Give credit to the Green Bay defense, but the last 2 games, last 2 weeks, this offense has been clicking. They've been scoring at least 90 points. I'm saying 52 against Chicago and 38 against Baltimore. So you do the math, that's 90 points they've been scoring. 90 points. So they definitely got their mojo back. They still got their offense, despite losing Ben Johnson to Chicago. They still doing their thing. They had a big game, 151 yards by David Montgomery. Amon St. Brown had 77 yards receiving. Great game by Gauls, 202 yards. And they did a great job against Henry. Yeah, only 50 yards. And despite the touchdown run that he had early in the game to set everything up for them, for Baltimore 28-yard touchdown. He only had 50 yards rushing. But this is a great performance by Detroit on the road to beat this team. Also, he did with defense. They had 7 sacks on Lamar Jackson. Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery ran for 2 touchdowns apiece. They ran for 224 yards and held this vaunted rushing attack led by Lamar Jackson and Henry to only 85 yards. So this offense got his mojo back. They look very good on the road and overpowering and dominant at the line of scrimmage. So give him credit. That's it for that. Let's get into look ahead. Check on George Kittle. See how he's doing. He has a hamstring injury. It's on injury reserve. All right, let's look into the games this week in the National Football League for Week 4. So far, right now, the Cardinals are leading 3-0 over to Seattle. That's what's going on right now. Right, let's get into games this week for week 4. Some interesting games. This week you got Minnesota and Pittsburgh and overseas. This game is going to be played in Dublin. Both teams are 2-1. Keep your eyes on that. Obviously, the Giants and the Chargers, that's an interesting game. Even though the Giants are 0-3, it's going to be the first start for Jackson Dart. So keep your eyes on that. The rookie is going to get the Chargers trying to go 4-0. Interesting game. Philadelphia and Tampa Bay, that's an interesting game. Both teams are unbeaten. Could be a playoff preview. Rams and the Colts. That's a good game. Jacksonville, San Francisco, no, it's not a good game. Kansas City and Baltimore, that's a great game. Green Bay, Dallas is good. Got 2 Monday night games, Miami and the Jets, that's a terrible game. And Denver and Cincinnati, solid game. See what happens with that. Let's give my picks quickly. I'm gonna start with going with Detroit. I think Detroit gonna keep their winning ways going. You know, their biz. Cleveland's defense pretty tough, but I got Detroit winning that game. I got the Eagles beating Tampa. The Eagles are tough to deal with, man. They're defense champs for a reason. I gotta go with the Eagles. Going with the Rams to beat the Colts. I think Baltimore would beat the Chiefs. I think Green Bay would beat Dallas. So that's my picks. Detroit will win against the Browns. I got Tampa losing to the Eagles. Rams beating the Colts. Chiefs will lose to the Ravens. And I got Green Bay beating Dallas. That's how I see it. All right, so let's get into some baseball. Baseball season's winding up, man. A lot of drama going on. How about those Seattle Mariners? The Mariners won the American League West Division. Who thought that would be the case when the season started? But they are the champs, and it's all because of Cal Raleigh, the catcher sensation. You know, he hit his what 60th home runs. I think he got 60 home runs right now. Yeah, 60th home run. Also, Shohei Ohtani, his 54th home run as the Dodgers they clinched the National League West. But Riley, he hit his 60th home run. So against the Rockies, first American League West titles in 24 years. They beat the Rockies 9-2 last night. So a lot going on with the baseball. Look at the stands. The Yankees are right there. They're tied for the division with Toronto, 90 and 68. So they got a chance to win the division. Cleveland and Detroit are in a nail biter of a Central Division, American League Central Division. Cleveland's 1 game up over Detroit. Again, Seattle, congrats to them. They won the division. Philadelphia won their division. They just won their division. And Milwaukee won their division. It's gonna be wide open baseball season, man. Wide open. Very wide open. So the postseason is coming up real soon, and we got some great baseball coming up in the playoffs. Stay tuned for that. Right, so let's get into my on this day in sports history. Tuned for that. Right, so let's get so on this day in sports history for September 25th. So on this day in sports history for September 25th. get into it. September 25th. Let's start with 1844. Canada defeats the USA by 23 runs in the first international cricket match at the grounds of the St. George's Cricket Club in Manhattan, New York. 1866. Jerome Park opens in the Bronx for horse racing. 1926. The Yankees take a doubleheader from Browns to clinch the American League pennant. 'Jimmie Foxx in 1932 hit his 58th home run in the last game of the season. Lou Gehrig in 1934 played his 1,500th consecutive game. 1955, Detroit outfielder Al Kaline became the youngest batting champion at age 20. Baseball history here. Okay, we got some boxing history. September 26, 1962, Sonny Liston knocked out Floyd Patterson with 2:06 to go in the round one at Comiskey Park to win. This is in Chicago to win the heavyweight boxing title. Satchel Paige, 1965, 60 years old, pitched 3 scoreless innings. Satchel Paige. 1979, the Angels of California won their first American League West pennant. Jerry Mumphrey joined Ozzie Smith and Gene Richards to steal 50 bases that year, 1980, for the San Diego Padres. 1980, September 26. 1985, New York Yankees outfielder Ricky Henderson sold franchise record 75th base of the season. Wade Boggs, 1989, the Boston Red Sox at the time, was the first player to achieve 200 hits and have 100 walks in 4 consecutive seasons. That's it. That's it for tonight. That's it for the history aspect of the show. What happened on this day on September the 26th? Excuse me, September 25th. Beg pardon, September 25th. What happened on today, September 25th? So that's it for tonight. Be back next week. Check out my latest article. That's on e52asports.com. Check that out. Be back next week with another show, episode number 71. Actually, this is the final episode in the month of September, so this month's gone by fast. So I'll be back in October for another episode number 71. It's a milestone of an episode tonight, 70th episode. So thanks to Michael Spilling put me on this platform to make this show the 70th episode on this platform. So I'll be back next week for the first episode of the month of October. Until then, talk to you next month in October for the Inside Sports with Rashad Mitchell.